Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting, riveting, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master of propaganda, hero's right, defender of the fatherland, of here to 1v1 on Nexus. In the east, it is IncaUna, fighting for America, freedom, democracy, here with the 5th Armored Division somewhere closer to the German border, with Mechanized Company featuring mechanized groups, 76mm Shermans, mortar half-tracks, cavalry riflemen, and the combined arms. Ability in the west, it is Angreifen, fighting for the Germans once here with the Oberkommand West, Deutschland. Here, rolling out with the Panzerdivision with Elite Armored, featuring the 221, emergency repairs, Panzer Commanders, heat shells, and the Sturmtiger. Double foot grenades versus double riflemen. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my own company heroes, my patrons, supporters. Without them and their support, the Propagandacast would not be possible. So big thanks to all of those. Keeps me going in life to keep doing what I do. So thank you again. Other people can join the ranks by pledging on Patreon. They can also donate via PayPal. Links in the description. You can also consider the pre-ordering Commons fee, that is, by doing it by the link in the comments. Use the code STUG3G, in which case I get a cut of the sale, roughly 15%. So that's certainly handy. And finally, just comment, like, share, subscribe. So, fast track here. We'll be seeing a fast 2-1 here from Angreifen to pressure on the Americans. And certainly, the US can definitely struggle versus an early 2-1. The Mechanized does offer, in theory, a bit of relief here with the dart truck and its 50 cal. The course trick is he needs to upgrade it first. And that is where things might not quite then go smoothly here against the fast 2-1. But otherwise, the Americans lacking any snares and like significant otherwise tools for dealing with a fast armored car there. Khan found themselves struck a bit here against the Reich. In the south, the Ralph Scott Racing holding against the Fulton DC as Angreifen looks to disrupt IncaUna's southern field point capture there. Northeast Sturmtiger doing what they can against the Rifle Squad, and again, he'll get there eventually, but the question is if Angreifen won't be getting to his 2-1 before he gets there. And even then, I mean, the 2-1 can still technically beat the truck, but it does have a chance, a bit of support that takes to take out the 2-1. And there you go, 2-1, Arbit's scout car on the way there for Angreifen and the German army. They're just waiting. Almost got the munitions, and certainly will be important for IncaUna to assemble as much munitions as he can to upgrade that truck as fast as possible. Of course, the question is whether or not, of course, he's expecting to be hit by a 2-1. Munitions point, so he's going to be very close. We'll go for that pretty soon. 2-1 almost done there for Angreifen. The Panzerdivision there go. Dart truck being tapped with the Sturmtiger. Moving in there to push them around with it, allowing the Ralph Squad to get free shots. Need to grab that point and then get upgraded. 2-1 is out. So we'll have to see. He's going to try and rush down the Dart truck with it first before there's a chance to upgrade. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea at all, because that removes, again, like, the only sort of remotely close thing to counter the 2-1 here IncaUna's going to have in the early game. Except, of course, just catching a really bad spot and shooting it to bits here. And we go, and in the 5th cal, thumbs up. Looks like Angreifen is not pursuing the dart truck here as a massive potential threat to his 2-1. Obviously, it's not a massive one, but it can be a threat. Not underestimate the power of that 50 cal against an armored car. Rascal closer again, lacking any significant firepower. There you go, dart truck moving in. Getting hammered here by the 2-1. Need to come up to comfort. There you go. 5th cal firing when again, as you might notice, suddenly the 2-1 starts taking a lot of damage from it. So again, it's sort of the closest thing the USF has, like, any sort of counter to the 2-1 in the early game here. But as you might notice, it can also be countered fairly easily in return. So it's not even like, you know, a hard counter in that sense. We can see that Angreifen is quick to add in the Panzerschreck here as well to further increase his ability to deal with American motorization. Lieutenant on the way. In fact, he's out, can add a bazooka, and we'll probably be seeing maybe some 50 cals or a Stuart light tank here to help deal with it. Cavalry riflemen, so guess not. At least in terms of fast 50 cals. Not a bazooka to the lieutenant. I mean, he could pop that into the dart truck and then hunt down the 2-1. We'll have to see how IncaUna further takes from here. Lieutenant, there's in trouble with the full Grenadier. There's 2 squads, in fact, focused down the lieutenant. Seeing with his mighty Thompson, he's just not going to be able to, like, get cut through all the Germans. Dart truck back at it again. He versus the 2-1. Bit of RNG on that armor damage though, so not getting clear hits in all the time as well. Up northeast, jumping caught the Ralph Squads. Could try and go for deeper flank here around Angreifen, maybe catch the 2-1 there, but nope. Backs off. Cavalry rifle in the dart truck, adding the Thompson as well there. Could go for Mortar Attack, but against the Orbal commanders in particular with the 2-1, the Mortar Attack feels a bit of a waste. I imagine here that IncaUna is planning for the M5A1 Stuart light tank to try and put the big end there to the 2-1 armored car. Cavalry charge forward backed up with the dart truck here. You can of course also use the mark target ability, which certainly allows the dart truck to quickly cut through the 2-1 there if he wants to. But by now, it's almost getting knocked out, and there we go, we even get the step on it ability. Step on it, Bob! My name's Charles! Well, your name's Bob now. Dang it. Almost losing it to the flak emplacement, sending seized here. Could go for the calf pump. There goes sneak up bit here. Quickly getting away from frontline Stuart light tank on the way to IncaUna and the 5th Armored Division as Angreifen and the Panzerlehr Panzerdivision reorganize and assemble for the next push. Looks to be the Aufklärungsabteilung due to the emphasis on armored cars, which in the German reconnaissance units were the primary scouts. Where there were infantry in these units for the armored divisions, they were typically more meant to escort and support the armored cars. They were not scouts themselves, and in fact a lot of the time they would just basically end up serving as another set of, shall we say, panzer grenadiers in the division. In particular, the ones in the armored half tracks would certainly serve as another armored panzer grenadier unit. So, little fun fact there about German organization on reconnaissance. Was one of those neat little elements there. Stuart light tank almost down. Up north, the lieutenant being attacked by a large throng of German infantry as Angreifen commits fully here for Deutschland. If together, of course, could be an excellent addition if IncaUna now to help contain all of these goddamn crowds. Lieutenant here being shot to bits up north. He better skirmish with the fuel point here. Lieutenant, in fact, about to get executed. He needs to retreat him now before he gets turned into, well, target practice for the Germans. Stuart light tankers rather, the M5A1. And I imagine this is going to commit Angreifen to the Puma, the 234-2 heavy armored car, or schwerer Panzerspielwagen. Southeast dart truck there, awaiting someone to pop into it by the looks of it. Ambulance on the way there for IncaUna. Full sustain clearance, so it's the 223 command scout car. Sturmpionier pursuing here. Stuart moving into assist as well here. Back here reinforcing. Ambulance almost done. 223 now with Veteran 2. Gives a nice accuracy bonus here. Stuart gets a good hit in return. Cavalry and chaining with the Thompsons with the grease guns here. Ripping into those goddamn Nazis, but the Germans are too much here. And IncaUna is forced to displace his men towards less shooty environments. Ambulance finally there up to reinforce. We'll have to see what happens next if IncaUna. 50 cal maybe. And there you go, Puma is on the way here for Angreifen and the German army. Die schwerer Panzerspielwagen. South here, forced by the Stuart, they engaged, immediately loses Ludwig, forcing him to retreat. Puma there, almost on here for Deutschland. Lieutenant also equipped with the bazooka, will send help for there. 223 setting up on the point right next to the base. Also using the natural terrain here to make it harder for the Americans just to run up to it without getting hammered by the nearby flak emplacement. 2 centimeter flak 38. Sturmpionier though versus the dart truck. Good shot with the rocket right through the engine block there of the armored vehicle there. Rockets flying all over the place in the center. We got the Puma moving up, shoots, gets good hit on the Stuart light tank here with its 50mm cannon, which was roughly, in terms of performance, equivalent to that of the Panzer III's high velocity gun there as well, that used on the Model L and M, for example. North East was the advancing cavalry rifleman. Repair kits out. MD-35 for Angreifen to help contain IncaUna's infantry. Not a bad deal at all. Puma there with 1 kill. Got the Americans opening up. And there you go. Puma right through the frontal armor. MD-34 almost done here. For Angreifen and for the Panzerlehr Panzerdivisions. Aufklärungsabteilung. Bazooka's firing there. Stuart Johnnings with the Puma down to 2/3 of his health total there. Bit better damage here from IncaUna on the German armored car. Also, fuel-wise, IncaUna is really building up to advantage here versus Angreifen. It's using most of the map and crucially most of the fuel points. This could quickly spiral out of control here against Angreifen and will need to be rectified soon. Of course, we can get at least rid of the steward. That should help also Angreifen at least somewhat getting back control here versus the Americans. But for now, IncaUna is proving to be a tough and certainly very efficient opponent. Puma being fixed up, closing in veteran to 1. Cavalry Rifleman versus the full Skanadira. Puma turning around the gun versus the Cavalry Rifleman, shoots, misses. Routing them in the south, big push forward. See, we got the dart truck nearby. Jurgen there gets dropped like a sack of potatoes. And we got a 50 cal there on the way for IncaUna. Finally going for some heavy suppressive firepower versus Angreifen. Dart truck falling back, send a big CST. All the beyond being grabbed. Puma almost fixed up here. The Puma itself was a very, shall say, low production run there. Sort of the vehicle there was basically only made because they'd scrapped another reconnaissance vehicle project, the Leopard, basically a reconnaissance tank. They had a bunch of turrets to spare, and so they just slapped them on the 234 armored car chassis. And they didn't really pick up and warm it because they were kind of worried that the armored car crews would get too confident with a gun like that, so they just, left it like that and focused more like, creating some minor variation that could support the other ones with a 2cm autocannon, with either center-family cannons or PaK-40s, but obviously not in a turret. Both been pursued with the Cavalry Rifleman Lieutenant and the Stuart Light Tank, bit of a collapse in the south of Angreifen once more. North side is having some luck with. We got the 5th cal there also supporting a push towards IncaUna. Also worth noting, fairly mobile plays here from both players, but certainly so far IncaUna's had the advantage with the Stuart. The Puma, of course, could change this. And certainly is giving Angreifen a bit more room to elbow IncaUna with. North here, again, attacking, again, note the path, going up to flank in, but in this case, though, Angreifen's mind here will pay off in this regard, and actually make the flank difficult to pull off here. Thumbs up to Angreifen. Perhaps not what he had intended, but that's certainly what it ended up doing. Center being seized here, just massive push here from IncaUna. I think he might try to go for the armored car with the Stuart Light Tank. There we go. Devious but efficient up north here. Sturm Pioneer there holding up for now. Dart truck moving in the south here. Puma going for the Stuart Light Tank. IncaUna a lot of pressure here from Angreifen. Got the 2-3, denying Angreifen otherwise key source of extra resources against the armored cannon. We've got Lieutenant blocking in it, plus a bit of 5A. Puma theoretically could go down to the Stuart Light Tank, but oh dear, might actually lose, but no. The German imp supporting the Puma pushes back here IncaUna's Lieutenant. Stuart is heavily damaged. May want to try and quickly pop up the crew here to do some quick engine repairs. You could also try and just hope the Puma rushes in from an angle where he can't get a clear shot easily, gets too close to the Stuart and knocks it out, but yeah, I don't know. I think he should just popped out the crew, quickly done some engine repairs, and then hold it out of there. Instead, he ends up going to engage with the Puma at a safe distance. Almost had it there. That was really close though for IncaUna. Really close. In fact, he's going to try and use Trieste to finish it off here with a few shots through the side armor, perhaps. But I think Angreifen's luck here will be sufficient. Or maybe not. Can IncaUna actually take out the Puma with a carbine? No. Really? I don't like how close it is. Major up there for IncaUna. Very good for him. Angreifen there. With another truck out, they'll likely be the Schwerer Panzerhauptquartier. Puma in dining repairs. What the hell happened to this armored car? Did they fire a carbine at this thing? Yeah. What did they expect to do? I don't know. Maybe destroy the armored car? Man, these Americans are real optimists, aren't they? North here, Cal Rappen and Rappen forward to the IncaUna. And go for some trouble. Not the 5th cal, and of course, the M1 carbine wielding rear echelons. Which apparently was also a trophy weapon that was liked by some German troops, probably because it was, a relatively easy weapon to handle. I mean, there's a reason it was used by paratroopers and the likes. I mean, while it wasn't as the biggest punch, it was, good rate of firing, easy to handle. So, certainly favoured by some veterans, it would appear. Even amongst the Germans. But again, it's not something you typically see a lot of. But occasionally, it's notice some of the old photos, you'll see, German infantrymen running around with a carbine, for example. Northern Pumpkin Lieutenant and the Cavalry Rifleman. Angreifen swinging forwards there for Deutschland. Puma there close to veteran 2. IncaUna can soon go for Sherman. There we go. You could also opt for the 76mm Sherman, but the 75mm Sherman obviously is a bit cheaper. Puma there sending off a few more shots there for Deutschland with its 15 on the gun. We got 336 with 409. I mean, IncaUna in most regards still continues to lead here, but Angreifen is definitely making things tougher. Sandbags in the south. Thumbs up to that. Excellent work there. Puma at it still with a few shots here and there, but not landing anything particularly critical. Schwerer Panzer quarters up there for Angreifen, and we got the authorization up as well. You could consider an Obersoldat squad here. Probably won't though, but don't think it hurt. Now the machine gun could be the Raketenwerfers, to be honest. We'll have to see what Angreifen actually does here versus IncaUna. And of course, what IncaUna does in return. There you go. Flanking on the MD forward with the cavalry. There we go. Thompsons and grease guns there ripping into them, but the Schwerer Panzer quarters with its third terminal flank there proves to be a bit too much, then pushing back the Raft squad there. North on the unit routed here by the Germans. In the south, major push forwards here is encountering more significant resistance, but the 5th Cal, though, is actually pretty steadily making short work of it, as Angreifen's men in the south are caught completely out of position here by IncaUna. Got the Sherman arriving here. Should, of course, add the 5th Cal as soon as possible. High explosives rounds loaded up. We got the dart truck with the lieutenant. Gonna go for the folks in the south by the looks of it. There we go. They're quick retreating. Angreifen realizes trying to stick around there would be a very, very bad idea. Dart truck, Panther fast. The Puma goes for it, knocks it out. Great shot there, gaining Vetu 2 in the process. Far up north here, there's some lighter skirmishing between IncaUna and Angreifen. Could lose the machine gun in theory with a bit of luck. Sturm Pioneer suffers a heavy loss as a high explosive shell there just rips Bernhard and Bruno there to bits. He making moving forwards here. Sherman racing force for freedom and democracy. Falls a bit of trouble here. Good shot on the Puma there with a high explosive shell. Another shot for the Puma there, and we got heat shells being loaded to the Puma. Sherman shoots, didn't quite land the hit. Defense needs to engage against the heat shell firing Puma here. That could always end up poorly for the Sherman. Angreifen flooding manpower, still nothing being done with it otherwise. No, again, machine guns, Raketenwerfers, Obersoldaten. Does of course also highlight a slight issue with the Oberkommanders, which is like, you know, if you don't like, you don't have any outlets for manpower into anything except like infantry or support weapons. So if you don't really feel like you need it, we can end up in a situation with just manpower because you can't build caches, and you typically can't build bunkers either. There's just nothing to sink your manpower into. There we go though, going for some Obersoldaten here. Reinhardt going to the advance of the American, but there's just so many BARs that trying to stick around for any longer. They would be quite frankly a waste of manpower here for Angreifen. I think he very judiciously pulls back his men. Puma need repairs again, halfway to eventually 3 Obersoldaten squad halfway done. IncaUna continues to exert excellent map control against Angreifen. Sherman here could still do with a 5th Cal there being mounted. North we got a massive push here of guns against IncaUna's northern positions. Sturmgewehrs Kanat TKs there riffing into the Amerikaner. Return there, push back. We got more troops charging in. The Volksguns here close to the northern victory point. Gonna force retreat here, I think. Maybe not. But I think so, though. There you go, active focus down the raft squad here. Perhaps not a well-executed attack there from IncaUna as what you would initially like to believe. Puma ultimately to assist here. Could use an aimed shot here in the infantry. Or you could just not do that. Either way, a pretty brutal engagement. The heavy losses on both sides. Just dead Americans and Germans all over. Quite a brutal but also slightly sensitive engagement then, though IncaUna retreats, allowing Angreifen to find up to grab the points. Sherman just roaming about here, could soon go for another one, and 2 Shermans could be a significant headache for Angreifen. As for what he's planning, I was about to say no Panther 4, but he does go for it. Also might think Panthers. Angreifen seems to be a bit of a Panther fan when he replaced Germans, so I wouldn't be too surprised at that. Even though I would not call the Panther the most particularly efficient tank in the game at the moment. Reinhardt going against the echelons with their bazookas. 5th Cal almost on this Sherman as well. Puma moving forwards. Puma shoots the Sherman, bounces off. Sherman gets a great hit along to the bazookas. The Puma, in fact, is almost knocked up. Panthers almost on there for Angreifen. Quick route here in the south, leaving on just a single unit now. Very much far behind enemy lines to this degree there. Enemy third front trouble there. And south the Volksguns is also what you'd call in trouble here. So Sherman slowly rips the cover apart. Quick retreat here, almost got in the warp. Up in the center, we got the infantry with the Mountain Lieutenant. The 5th Cal also suppressed here. Not a good look there for IncaUna. Needs to back off. Also worth noting, IncaUna does not have any light artillery. Mortars would be, I think, an excellent addition for him. Be they regular or the mortar half-track. But we do have Jackson tanks on the way here for IncaUna. I'm not entirely sure if the Jackson is really necessary here. I think just more Shermans or some 6mm Sherman would probably be more useful here. I'm not sure the Jackson would be great versus the Panda 4, but beyond that, it may lack a bit of utility. But we'll see. We shall see. Puma there, very close to 50 feet. Orbison squad almost wiped out here. They've been certainly quite expensive there for Angreifen. Panda 4 in the center there, got the jumbling forward. Bazooka fire there. Flies at it, but misses. Bazooka teaming up. Jackson almost done here for IncaUna. Freedom and democracy. As Angreifen and the Panzer strikes at the armies. Panda 4 misses. Sherman does not. Lieutenant up here with Bazooka as well. That's 2 Bazooka teams for IncaUna here. Panda 4 down to less than half health there as the Americans are delivering more and more damage upon its hull. Trucking away there for Angreifen, that means Battlefield headquarters, and could very well mean he's going to try and hold up for King Target now against IncaUna. Jackson out. South here, we've got the full spawning for the southern field point here against the Amerikaner. IncaUna feverishly refusing to let it go here. Very sensible reason, of course. And we got a bazooka dropped here, but the Falconers cannot pick it up. Puma moving up here, still close to 50 fleet. Bazooka teams moving forward, so that could actually cost the Puma a lot of damage. So yeah, he decides to pull it away there from the Bazooka teams. Might be using the Puma as bait here. Another Bazooka dropped here. Sherman fires away there with its high explosive shells. We've got the Jackson here bound reserve. Brownhunt gun and the echelons. Half the Fulton squad, the his survivors, are just completely evaporated. 5th Cal number 2 of IncaUna. Sherman moves it further. Sturmpioner, Puma fires there. Puma misses. Jackson also misses. Sturmpioner keep this on extra bazooka here for more anti-tank weaponry. Sherman down to less than half health, taking intense damage. Jackson gets great in the Puma. The Puma is virtually free there, and he's firing heat shells. See Sherman driving away there. Jackson basically acting as a shield for the Sherman. He tries to save in the center of the Panther, pushes forwards here. Punishing IncaUna for getting too focused on the Puma in the south here. Excellent maneuvering there by Angreifen. It could perhaps be a bit more aggressive there, we'll see. Meanwhile, a lot of reinforcements, repairs, and such going on in IncaUna's base, leaving the front line practically nude here, and allowing Angreifen to possibly push very far there and possibly straight up to the base here of IncaUna if he decides so. Battle headquarters there being upgraded. Troops awaiting reinforcements and healing. Well, once they hit Destiny 5, they don't actually even need the healing from this. This is sort of the amusing part. It'll be only then the Sturmpioner, the Observer machine, that really needs the healing. The main force here won't need the medics at all. Once they hit that spot. I think even the Observer hit a spot where they can heal themselves. Might be around there. Yep. It ends up actually only being the Sturmpioner that need the medics after a certain point. South being held here, bazooka left behind. Jackson sitting out there at Veteran 2. Oh, he actually switched out the crews. Which increases Jackson's rate of fire and accuracy. Not a bad idea. Also opens up for the HVAP rounds. Can be a really good ability, this ability to switch out crews, just most players typically tend to ignore it. We got 220 dollars at 327. Certainly starting to look a bit pressured there for Angreifen. Will lead to something against IncaUna, soon to turn the tides here against the Amerikaner. Up north here, center being held. In the south, Sherman going for deep flank here. High explosives perhaps loaned up. There we go. Flanking the machine gun there. Position slightly dinged there, but nothing huge. Puma turns on the Sherman there. Good to the machine gun. Well, this is Jackson. There we go. Rushes in here. 5th Cal pinned down. Sturmpioning up with their bazooka and their Panzerschreck. Jackson lines up. Good shot on the Sherman here. I mean, the Puma, that is definitely not a Sherman unless you're nearsighted. Jackson rolling forwards here, going for that Puma, and Angreifen just hastily trying to get his Puma to safety. Troops retreating, a complete collapse in the south here for Angreifen, who's not expecting this kind of maneuver here from IncaUna. In the north, they push forwards here, but the opposite on the Fultons is working out here as IncaUna's position is if not ready there for the German approach. Almost got the Puma, the shots fired off. The mark, close call there. Panther 4 also being held bit back here. Volkswagen's going in there, leaving the Orbison back in the building here to fight the Americans from a safer distance with the light machine guns. The South Side was being claimed here by America, freedom and democracy, and there we go, IncaUna with the 76mm Sherman. As for Angreifen, what will happen next, who knows? King Tiger, though, I think at this stage would be awfully risky for Angreifen. I mean, he could still go for it, sure, but it would mean a lot of downtime as an opponent could just keep training out tanks, and particularly also then use them with combined arms alongside infantry, at which point Angreifen could technically end up in a really bad place. German almost done their thing, IncaUna. Jackson running about. Academy have almost done their for Angreifen. I'm starting to get a bit concerned about all these American tanks and tank destroyers. Bazooka team shown away. I mean, IncaUna just has like a lot of anti-tank firepower now with like actually 3 anti-tank teams now. Plus the Jackson. So that definitely could get a bit spicy there for Angreifen's armor. Puma reaching veteran T4. Jackson using forwards. There we go. Good shot on the Puma. Plentiful joining the fight. There you go. Great shot from the Jackson, closing on the ace level. Shot whiffed on that one, but actually killed some poor sod. If I run, so got the Sherman 76mm there joining in as well. He catching Angreifen's force, then a bit of a crossfire here. King pretty rough here for Angreifen and for Deutschland. The Panzer will have to come up with some rather clever tactics here. I hope that IncaUna messes up. Picking up the tanks and tank destroyers there in the center. The machine gun setting up here. Like head up back further up north. The infantry advances steadily for freedom. Democracy. Back here, troop reinforcing healing. Battalion command post there remains as silent as the grave. Puma there, very, very close to going somewhere with each level there. Up north, a bit of fresh skirmishing here. South side, lightly defend it, but with a good push, they could be overwhelmed here. Boomering up here, shoots, sandbag shattered, shambling forwards here, and engaging the Volkswagens there, killing Jürgen. Boomer snipes some poor sod here. Rushes in with the Puma here to get off the shot, but there you go. Lieutenant here with the bazookas pushing back the Puma pretty quickly. In the south, small probe here by Angreifen. 2 Volkswagen, there's the Major and the 50 cal. They will limit support. They may not find as much progress as they hoped for. Up north, though, things are heating up here. We've got the Shem pushing forward for the support. We've got the Jackson running up as well here. Good hit on the Shem there. Panther 4 lined up with heat shells. Puma could also fire some shots there. Lieutenant T out in the open. There's the Volkswagen, the Lieutenant. There you go. Last unit in the south. The Major expires. 5th gal about to get wiped by the Volkswagen as well there. Close call here for IncaUna. Does manage to get out of there. Up north, the Sherman in trouble here. Angreifen's hitting hard here for Deutschland. Panther 4 shoots, misses. Jackson pushes in where just as the heat shells wear off. Good shot from the Panther 4 here. Akemi could turn around, but isn't. There's too much going on in the south. Pushed off. The Volkswagen's got work there by IncaUna shown. We got 121 to 372. Jackson falling back. In the south, the Sherman races forward. See 8 kills close by 2. The Volkswagen being routed here with intense firepower being fired into the back. See, we got a Jagdpanzer for Angreifen. That could be a problem here for IncaUna. And there you go, almost wiping out any time for scored here. Likely to happen unless Angreifen has some insane luck, which and he kind of does though. That's kind of lucky. Up north, the unit wiped out though. IncaUna's luck not quite as good, clearly. Machine send. There goes Sherman as the Kidnapper here. Panther 4, Puma also good to go. Yak Panzer's halfway done. What will IncaUna go for? East Scott. Got some self-propelled artillery. Academy for reaching Veterans 1 as the Puma pushes forwards. Up north, that point being grabbed here as well. Got 112 versus 369. Almost got the 5th car there with an aimed shot. Great work there by the Puma crew. Also close to the east level. And the Yak Panzer is right around the corner here for Angreifen and the German army. There we go. Ready to put the fear of Deutschland into IncaUna with that one. Scott almost done here for IncaUna. Bazooka team in the south here versus the Fultgrenadiers. That's not going to end well for the Bazooka team. Good shot on the Puma with the Jacks. We've got the Jagdpanzer moving in. There's Scott out here. Fighting intensifies in the center here as IncaUna launches his men forward without smoke screens here. His men are being gutted by the German defenders. Angreifen stands his ground. There you go. Till called in by the Panther 4. Betchy 2 there. 5th Cal could get knocked out. And there you go. Just quick retreat. Jagdpanzer then great in the Jackson now ace level. And we got troops flanking from the south here. Further putting pressure on IncaUna as the American front line is starting to run into some pretty harsh obstacles here. Panther fast possibly no, instead it's going to be death here as the Sherman charges in, backed up with the Scott. Bulls are taking heavy losses. Jagdpanzer gain their Puma going forward as well. They almost got the Jackson. Veteran found the Puma there. Kedneffer finishes off here. Sherman next here. Puma ace level. Jagdpanzer running around there. Good shot there. Sherman almost knocked as well here by the Kedneffer, the Jagdpanzer Puma combo. Sherman down there, leaving him just with the regular Sherman and the Scott here. The situation for IncaUna has gone aggressively southwards here in the face of Deutschland. Talk about the turnaround. Moving in the Sturmpioneer to help repair stuff. Got the Mechanized Regular Pioneers perhaps also doing a bit of work there.
300 points remaining.
300 points left for IncaUna. Sherman, Scott on the move. They're backed up by whatever he's got left. There we go. Forcing the move here for Angreifen. Slowly but steadily. Could catch IncaUna in a bit of a bad spot. And by a bit of a bad spot, I could mean a really bad spot. There you go. Good shot on the Sherman ace right through the side armor. Second shot bounce off. Panther 4 ramming here on the flank. Jagdpanzer moving up as well with its high velocity sent from the gun here. And there you go. IncaUna has apparently just dropped out. Feeling like his odds are against him, he just retreats. So there you go. GG, game over. A fierce back and forth fight here. IncaUna definitely enjoyed some strength in the early game, but I feel like didn't quite consolidate his advantages there. And then later on, tactically, I think, made a few mistakes that allowed Angreifen to think steadily turn the game around there. Perhaps he got overconfident. Hard to say here, but he definitely tactically, I think, ended up conceding too much initiative here to Angreifen. I think Angreifen exploited that quite well. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell a friend, tell a family, but don't your enemies. And do consider donating to support the Propagandacast via PayPal or pledge on Patreon if you like what I do and wish to support it. This is Imperial Links. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Talk tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.